Hey, I know that song. It's time, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness, look at the calendar. Why, this just might be the final summer series guest. It's the 26th of July.
Oh, that's it? Okay.
I mean, practice starts next week. Right?
Summer's over.
Yeah, summer's over.
That is true.
Summer's over.
Well, Tony proclaimed that about a month and a half ago that it was over.
No, summer ends 1st of July, week before football practice. Summer's
Done.
over.
So what do you say we close the summer series on Three Guys Before the Game with one of the all-time great Mountaineers, both on and off the field? An iconic Mountaineer. Iconic, I said. Not only is he an iconic Mountaineer, but he didn't even have to play at West Virginia, and he always would have been a Mountaineer because he's from here. There you go. You know, I heard a guy say once, from Weirton to Welch, Martinsburg to Matewan, and all points in between, he's the first vector point. He's Weirton. Quincy Wilson.
And wrapping up with a vector point to end the summer series.
I think I was the first to have a graphic on the scoreboard, too.
Is that right?
I think I'm an original. I thank Shelley Poe for that one.
Yeah, well, why wouldn't? I mean, you're Superman Q. Quincy Wilson is
Gentlemen,
the special
how's
guest.
everybody?
Oh, man,
Great,
we're good.
great to have you back.
It's 474 episodes in, and we've got Q with us. Three Guys Before the Game is all assembled. Believe it or not, these guys who have taken 32 weeks of vacation in the last 8 weeks are back. Three Guys is brought to us by the Burdett Camping Center. They happen to be the only, I said, warranty forever dealer in the state of West Virginia. Visit them at burdettcamping.com.
By the way, you used vector point correctly. Well done.
Did you just fact check that?
Yeah, I did. I fact checked it.
You just Googled that and fact checked him?
Yeah.
Why you think I is dumb? Three Guys also brought to us by Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. That's a quarter of a century. Three Guys also brought to us by GoMart. You know what? The month is quickly coming to an end, but I'm going to tell you what. If you get those cryptid bonus points, as you know, this is one of the all-time great deals. Those bonus points. Cryptid, you earn up to 5,000 bonus points on your GoMart card, which means that you go in there, I know, this might have been a little bit extreme. I know a guy at the Flatwoods one.
Know a guy. You got a guy?
Rolled a 737 airplane into the Flatwoods GoMart, just brought it in because it's pretty wide. Said, just fill it up. I got a GoMart card.
Loaded with a bunch of big Skittles?
$210 worth of fuel because he had the card. Filled up the 737. So, can you imagine the savings for you? Just saying.
When we go to Greenbrier County Friday, there'll probably be 2 GoMart stops.
Yeah, you would make that turn toward Charmco.
Stop
Netty.
there too, yeah.
Three Guys also brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales.
Over under of 1.5. Probably take the over.
Take the over.
Take the over.
I think when you consider my condition.
The line just moved. It's 2.5.
Three Guys also brought to us by
the over.
Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com, the premier pontoon boat dealer in the state of West Virginia. So, yeah, we are going to Greenbrier County. We'll talk about that coming up. It's this weekend, Friday, Saturday. Free event Saturday. We're going to close off a street in Ronceverte, and we're going to have food. We'll talk more about it later. But first, how about our guy?
Oh.
You know, I asked him when he came into the building, I said, how old are you now? And he told me that he was 42 years of age, and I said...
No, that's not right.
I said...
Is that right?
No, not possible.
You're 42?
42.
I said, I remember him running up and down the floor at the Charleston Civic Center playing for Weir in basketball.
Yeah.
99. We closed out the century, as they say.
Yes, you did. And then I did your state championship game in Wheeling.
Yep.
Man, oof.
DuPont, great game.
Great
game there. Held on for dear life, as they say.
What a game that was. I remember that, again, that was yesterday. That was Friday night. It was cool. Nice, crisp, cold. And here's Quincy, running low to the ground.
That was what, 98?
Yes.
98?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Take a guess how many touchdowns Quincy scored at Weir with the Red Riders.
Ooh.
Red Riders.
Red Riders, yes.
Red Riders.
Take a
Red
guess.
Riders. How many touchdowns? Okay, let's just do the math. Let's say, did you play as a ninth grader?
Yes.
So 4 years?
4 years.
So you're playing on average. You're going to let's just say you play an average of 12 games because you guys got into postseason. Can we say you played
This is
48?
going to be a stupid number. This is going to be good.
Let's say you played 48 high school games.
Okay.
Just say round number, 48. Okay, so like if he was really, really good, if he go 9th, 10th, he'd score 1 touchdown per game. He'd score 48 touchdowns. I know he scored more than that when he got good, but you can't count 9th and 10th like he was going to score a touchdown every game. So I'm going to say 49 touchdowns.
For his career? You're saying 49 touchdowns for his career. Give me 114. 114.
This is kind of like the Price is Right. Why didn't you just go 50 so you could just go one over me and win the whole thing?
I'm trying to be right. I don't want to just beat you. I'm trying to be right.
How many, Hopster?
114.
I got it. Quincy, I checked this, so check me if I'm wrong. Fact check me. 90?
90, yes.
90.
Yes. 47 my senior year.
Holy cow. You scored 47 touchdowns.
He
scored 47
That's why your
touchdowns.
number was ridiculous. What are you talking about over there?
47. I'm just playing.
I mean, Kennedy Award winner there.
47
He wasn't going
touchdowns.
to score 47 for
He
his
scored
career.
47 touchdowns as a senior. 47 touchdowns.
It's 47.
Do you have any idea how many carries?
Ooh, 2 something. I know I averaged.
About 1 every 5 touches.
I think I had 10 yards of carry, something like that.
I know you
Probably
did.
should have been more
Jeez.
touches. Should have been every touch.
You know-
Why were you running an offensive play other than give it to you?
Coach Neely, he's awesome. I didn't play a lot of fourth quarters, and I would
Right.
always tell him, I was
Yeah.
like, Coach, I'm in this Kennedy race. I need, JR was throwing 8 touchdowns, 9 touchdowns, so I was like, Coach. So he was like, nope. So I figured out, let the game go a little, don't blow any teams out so I could play the whole fourth quarter.
Yeah, Coach Yanemi out there. We got to lock this one
We
down.
were talking before he came on there. What a great time in West Virginia high school sports
Oh, yeah.
for that 96 to 98 time frame with you and J.R. House and Chris Hura putting up stupid numbers at Morgantown High as well. That was really a
And I wish there
maybe
was
not a
social-
golden age, but that was a heck of an era there.
Well, I wish
wasn't
there
it?
was social media because you actually had to go buy a newspaper and kind of try to figure out, well, hey, what went down in Morgantown and what went down in Charleston. So I would always go
So
to the
you were
library.
aware of the numbers? You were watching Chris's
Oh, yeah.
numbers
I would
and
go, I would
JR's?
go to the library, walk down there, and I had a little deal.
Quincy's suddenly
I'm dating-
78
I'm
years
dating-
old, not
I'm dating-
42.
I'm dating
78-year-old Quincy Wilson back joining us. Go ahead.
No computer in the house. The only internet was at the library.
Yeah.
So go down there, get online, and get on the Charleston. I think it was Daily Mail at the time. And,
Yeah.
and then the Dominion Post
Well, you know what,
And you
though?
check House and Chris Hura's numbers specifically.
every Saturday morning.
I see.
Every Saturday morning.
But you know what? Where you grew up, the Wheeling newspaper, and this was my impression, of whether I'm right or wrong, I don't know. My impression was they had the best high school sports section.
Oh yeah, Doug Huff.
We-
Yeah.
Doug Huff.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that was like, you talk about agate in a newspaper. I mean, you open that thing up on a Saturday and they had like
Agate
everything.
reference.
They had that was the greatest high school section because high school sports means so much there.
Oh, definitely. There are 2 news stations. They're always
Yeah.
I mean, it's great place to grow up. And play sports, like you said.
And, Quincy, that whole Ohio Valley,
Yes, pride.
both sides of the river, I mean,
yeah.
the whole, I mean, all those athletes that came from that Ohio Valley.
Oh my goodness!
Even from my own high school, Fritz Williams, Keith Jeter,
Absolutely,
some
all the
awesome-
Jeters, right? All the Jeters.
And there's still Jeters coming.
Yeah.
Still.
We were there last night at TBT in the Wheeling at West Banco Arena. I just kind of walked around the halls a little bit.
Everything's up. Yeah.
And I saw John Havlicek's jersey
Yeah.
as a Celtic, and I went like, whoa, because he's.
Yeah, they got great stuff there.
I mean, it's amazing sports history that's come
the
through the Northern
Necros
Panhandle.
came from
Yes,
up there?
absolutely. And George Brett doesn't claim it, but he was like from up there,
Born there,
Yeah,
right?
Lou Holtz.
Lou Holtz.
Lou Holtz claims.
Yeah, Lou
Ballsby
Holtz.
and East Liverpool.
Yeah, exactly. You know all those guys, and it's just
This
it means
is
something.
This is a little bit on the edge because it's not really up there, but Connellsville, Pennsylvania. Okay, that's we don't consider that in the Ohio Valley, right? I mean, but it's Western Pennsylvania. A lot of athletes out of Western
it is.
Pennsylvania. Johnny Lujack just died.
Mm-hmm.
And Johnny Lujack's one of the great college players of all time
Mm-hmm.
at Notre Dame.
Absolutely.
It
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It just happened. I mean,
How about Ken Griffey? Ken
Yeah.
Griffey's from up in there, in PA as well. But just that whole Monongahela Valley, whatever they want to call that thing up there, it's been pretty wild. Okay.
Where else did you consider other than West Virginia coming out?
You know what? I came for a spring game. Had a great junior year. Coach Dunlap and those guys were like, hey, come on to a game. And, you're like, oh, I'll be there tomorrow. So got a chance to, see Amos Airway and, those guys and Sean Foreman and Jerry Porter and Mark Bolger. I'm just like, shock and awe.
Yeah.
And then as, my senior year comes, obviously, rushing for, 3,200 yards, I believe, and 47 touchdowns. All of a sudden, these coaches are calling you. So, Indiana and Georgia and all these places. But, so I never was not going to WVU. But, I found out early that you can always take unofficials everywhere. So I took my visits and then, obviously it came down, to see Coach Nealon. But when Coach Nealon came to the house, sat on the couch, my mom was like, that's it. That's where you're going.
How about that?
That's where you're going. So,
Really? What did Nealon, so how did Nealon, why was your mother enamored with Don Nealon?
I think how friendly he was, trustworthy, everything he said. Like I said, there was about 5 coaches there. I think the statute of limitation is out. But, so imagine my living room with every West Virginia coach and coach.
They brought everybody to see us.
Coach Palusic,
right? You bring the whole crew up there to get Quincy.
Even Coach Palusic was there. So so it was.
And you still came.
Well, he coached at Weir High.
Yeah,
so he had coached my uncles back in high school. So, but just the overall, everything. How much they wanted me to come, and how much it meant to come to the state.
Then you got down here, and Nealon was like, "Come on, Wilson, quit dogging it."
Yeah. Well, no, I was never that guy. I was always a hard worker. My cousin Art Miller, I watched him work. And I always was that. I would go to we have a community center. I go work out. I go run. There's always people telling stories about, we used to see you run up a hill. Now I did it once. One time, people see you, and that's kind of one of those stories that grow. Like every day you ran up there and pushed up here. So I never deny it.
Like Walter Payton, running.
Exactly.
That was his version of Rocky going up the steps in the art museum in Philadelphia. That was Quincy.
Well, anybody who's ever been to Weirton and drove up Powerhouse Hill, it's one of those things you only want to do once anyways.
Yeah. So all of that. So what about your dad's influence, right? Because here's a guy that played at the highest level, Chicago Bears in the heyday when the Bears were the Bears. How much influence?
You don't want to mention his dad's appearance in the Super Bowl Shuffle? You don't want to?
Yeah, he was in the Super Bowl Shuffle.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. So how much of what he had done as you're growing up that you're seeing fueled you?
It was anything. I always wanted to play in the NFL. Every Halloween costume, every thing you do in school when you grow up, it was always football. So it was awesome to bounce stuff off him. When you get to high school, he's like, well, hey, are you doing this? No. Are you working out? No. Are you doing, so to have that, not having to go to the internet or not have to watch a video, just, hey, Dad, what did you do? What did you guys? And to be around those guys, those locker rooms, Walter, Willie Galt. And,
Excuse me? Wait, who was the first name you just said?
Dropped in a few names.
Walter. To be around those guys, Walter. I mean, Walter Payton.
That's Uncle. That's Uncle, Big Uncle. But, it's.
So you knew him that well?
Oh, yeah. I grew up with Jared, Chris Sims. I've known all those guys since we were little, from going to Pro Bowls and going to that stuff. So, so handling media, handling that stuff, I would see, him sign autographs, and I would see him go to events and how people would light up when they were going. So I, since I was little, just have watched that. So tried to, have my own little, pick my little pieces of this and that with that. And like you said, it was great to have that influence.
That's interesting you say that. So you saw how the greats, the Walter Paytons of the world, handled fans. And it seems to me as though you saw that and you said, that's how I'm going to do it.
Got to. If you have a headband, throw it to a little kid. You see always speaking, especially the elderly, just taking time. There's nothing like time. I think I seen something that on The Last Dance when Michael Jordan was talking about some of these people only have one chance where they ever see me in a hotel. That's why I wear a suit. That's why I do what they do because I want that one image,
Sure.
for them to have. I see Michael Jordan, that. So that's always stuck with me, and it's important because being, Mountaineer, obviously, being back only a week, a month really now, but just the response you get. You could be in Kroger, just minding your business. I just need to get some, and then someone's yelling at you from across the store. Glad you're back. Then they go about your business. So nothing like that. So, and if you don't know how to handle that, it can be a little overwhelming sometimes.
Absolutely. And so what you're living and what you'll live as you continue to stay here is once a Mountaineer, always a Mountaineer.
That's right.
It's true. It's actually true.
It is true.
I mean, you and those guys the Pat Whites, the Rasheed Marshalls, and everyone, Owen Schmitz, and fill in the blanks, all those guys, the Andre Johnsons, like, it doesn't matter. It's a tattoo that lasts forever. Right?
But now, not to talk about you like you're not here, even though you're sitting right here. We talked about that when he left to go to Florida, that there was going to be a void at every single event that takes place in West Virginia because you weren't there. Yeah. Nobody attends more events in the state than this guy. True?
Mountaineer Athletic Club, I am free. If you guys want to get on the coaches caravan this spring,
yeah, we'd love to have you.
We can negotiate, something.
Absolutely, man. You imagine what you would have kicked it in NIL days.
Wow.
Oh,
jeez, that's a great thing for these kids. It was always going to be coming. I think we've just caught up with the SEC. Now we can just do it. Allegedly.
He ought to go back and collect, though. He should go back and say, I need to be paid retroactively.
Yeah, there you go.
For what he would have made a lot. Should have made a lot.
Yeah,
not would have. Should have made a lot.
Just what your jersey would have done. Think about what your jersey would have done.
I would have loved to just go to malls and just do little shows and just do that kind of stuff during the summer, instead of having to work kaleidoscope, stay in the heat, yelling at kids and all that stuff.
Good kaleidoscope reference. Okay.
Hold on real quick. Did Walter ever give you a pair of his kangaroos?
I might have stole a couple.
Yes.
Oh. But definitely the headbands and the half shirts.
Yes.
I have a bunch of those.
A lot of those.
A bunch of those.
When you
think about that for a second. Greatest running back of all time was wearing kangaroos for a period of time.
I know. If I'm not mistaken, he would go home and Mississippi.
I had some.
He'd go home to Mississippi. He had an unbelievable workout.
Oh, yes. Kangaroos were a brand
up a hill in Mississippi somewhere. He would crush himself.
Yep, definitely. He started that. Jerry Rice was more of the mountains. Right. His was kind of like our law school hill.
Right. Remember Walter Payton? Remember, he used to go back.
Here's what's amazing, though. So you know the guy, you're around the guy, you see how great he is, but you didn't carry the ball like him. No. How'd that message get through that you can't carry that thing out there, that only he does that? Don't put the ball out there.
Trust me, if you watch me as a Weirton Steeler in the Pee Wees, I did do that. it only
rein that back in.
It only takes one coach to kind of get on you, and you never do that again.
Yeah, he tucked it.
Yeah.
Well, that's fair. I didn't put all that together. The relationships that you got with those guys, and then with their kids.
Yep.
Isn't that amazing when you start putting all that together?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's like you said, you don't think about it until someone asks you about it because that's just all you know. We're going to a golf outing, we're going to an event. All right, let's go.
So now let's just jump 52 places to a different location. So here it is. Jarrett Payton, Walter's son, eventually plays at Miami.
Yes.
And your most iconic play of all time is against Miami. It's kind of wild how that works out.
Yep. And he ended up, obviously Frank Gore was their starting running back and got hurt first quarter, second quarter.
Who played 67 years in the NFL.
Just
Frank
retired.
Gore.
He's got Social Security.
The reverse. Good for him, though. Jeez, he couldn't stay healthy in college, but in 16 years in the league. I think I'll take 16 years in the league, though.
Oh, my goodness.
College playing.
But you imagine the body toll on 16 years as a running back?
No, I don't.
And when you think about it, think about that Frank Gore, correct me if I'm wrong, is the number 2 all-time leading rusher. But the name doesn't stand out, right?
He's the Andre Johnson of the NFL. Andre finished his career 3rd all-time at West Virginia in rushing and never started.
Wow.
3rd all-time in rushing and never started.
That's trivia you never get.
Was Gore a freshman that year? The year you had the run?
Sophomore.
Okay. Yeah, he was young.
Hey, on that run, Quincy.
Let's look at the run. Bring the run up. Ethan Collins is our producer. Let's take a look at the run.
This is 2003 at Miami.
Yes, 2003.
There's a little sheet.
Wait, that's not
Look at a young Rich Rodriguez.
Rich, 18 years old there?
Is Brandon Merriweather getting ready to have his socks knocked off?
Why is Rashid trying to steal your moment here? We're talking about your run. Why is Rashid taking all the runs? Give you the ball.
There it is, right
there.
there.
The ball, break a tackle, break a tackle.
If that ended right there, it was a great run.
Oh,
man.
That was so good.
You know what we say.
Ex-teammate there, John Pennington. My guy.
Yeah. Wonder, John's
Merriweather, get out of the way.
Again, we talk about this. That is the greatest, the most memorable run, right, all time. If West Virginia wins the game, it's the all-timer.
Yeah. It's kind of, you want to go out on top.
Q, here's my question. That was one of the more iconic runs in West Virginia football history. Why does Rashid get credit for a 33-yard touchdown pass?
Because technically it is a screen pass.
I know, but Rashid just get out of there.
She did no work whatsoever.
None. You had to do it all. In fact, it might have been a lateral.
No, but now hold on.
Might have been a lateral.
I think it was. The stick up for our guy, though. He's smart. Just get rid of the ball. Give it to him. Let him do the work. Right? Give him the ball.
Throw it
Go.
to Quincy, who's surrounded by 6 Miami
Rich had
players.
just called 7 straight runs for Rashid there. More guys sit by here. Someone else takes
That's
it.
true.
Here, Quincy, you go.
You mentioned Gore. You mentioned Gore as a sophomore there. Think of the players they had on the field.
Oh, well, I tell everybody, the Big East Conference was the SEC back then. My first year I get here is Michael Vick and those guys, 99 and that whole rung. Then Miami takes over from 2001, to 2003. So I played in the greatest era, of Big East football, and like you said, the players, too many to name.
Big boy football.
That game still ended up being a turning point, though, and it was one of those. I can remember that we were up on the roof, right? Broadcast location was up on the roof. I can remember being so devastated that didn't turn into a win because it felt like that was going to be the moment where the switch flipped. Right. And here goes Rich's program, and you guys were off and running, and then it ends in a loss. But you guys didn't let that crush the season. In fact, it went the other way from that point on.
Well, it was a lot like the year before in Cincinnati. We had to hit the field goal, and we're kind of
hit the post.
Everyone's kind of questioning. 0-1, we didn't do anything, and then the next year we're like, oh my God, if we don't beat Cincinnati, what's going to happen? And the field goal goes through, and we end up, the season ends up going how it went. So, but we had such leadership, Grant Wiley and those guys, that I told everybody after the game, we're going to win the rest of our games. I was like, if we play how we played against the top team in the country, I don't care who we play, we're going, and it just worked out that way. Now that Pitt game was awesome. I still pick on Larry Fitzgerald about that game. We made a couple of your Heisman highlights, but we got the win though.
So that did galvanize the group rather than the disappointment of not getting the win. It showed you guys, okay, we're right there.
Yep,
we're ready to break through.
And as a coach, I use that, with my guys. Like there's nothing like senior leadership, and I'd always remember Rich saying, "There's nothing like your senior year of football," and I know what he means. Because it's the culmination. You've been a freshman. Some people play, some people don't. Some people get hurt, some people don't. But if you can make it through 4 or 5 years and you can look back and see it, and like I said, I looked at that and said, as much work as we put in, we're going to be fine.
By the way, that Miami team in the 2004 draft following year had 6 players taken in the first round. In the first round.
There you go. That probably is still a record. I would probably
Sean Taylor, who was free safety.
The late Sean Taylor.
Kellen Winslow.
He might have been. Obviously, had the catch.
Had the catch. Jonathan Vilma, DJ Williams, Vernon Carey, Vince Wilfork.
Oh my gosh!
So 6 players were taken in the first round.
Also,
that was. Those guys are all backups to the guys that went before them. Ed Reed, all those guys. So.
Those are some dudes, man. So let's bring people up to speed. You are back into the football business. You haven't left. You're coaching. You're at if you're watching, his color of his shirt is the school. He had to go.
I haven't got any gear yet. So
what do you mean you haven't got? So you had that's self. This
is self promotion here.
You got to get some gear, man.
Running backs coach of the Fairmont State Falcons.
Yes, sir. Glad to be back. I've known Woody for a long time. Talked to him, in Charlotte this year, and say anything ever comes along, it's just networking, and it worked out perfect. Got there here, and been here a month. Getting ready for the season here, August 5th. Guys coming back, and just excited. It's nothing like you said. Summer's over. I feel like, everyone goes on vacation, and then after vacation, you're like, all right.
What are we going to do?
Let's go.
What are we going to do? Let's play football.
Let's go. I don't want to go to Myrtle. I don't want to do anything. I want football season. So, seeing these, I've been watching all these media days and watching everybody, just the juices are just like flowing, and just excited to get started. Started to meet the guys because, like I said, I didn't have a spring with them, but been talking to them and doing the Zooms and all that good stuff, and just ready to roll.
And you know this league well, obviously, from all your years at West Virginia State. So you truly are back home, not only in the state, but in this league as well, the Mountain East Conference.
Got started at Glenville, Coach Hutch, and 5 years with the guys down the state. So I've seen it evolve, from Shepherd, being the king dog to now Notre Dame being one of the best teams. So
I've got to ask you. So you left to become a head coach
down
in Florida.
Yep.
And we're trying to piece it together while you were down there, but the thing basically imploded.
Yeah.
What in the heck is going on is what we're saying there. So walk us through. You were going to try to do something that was difficult to begin with. You walk into it. What was that deal?
Trying to be an agent of change. If I think about it, if I'm here trying to do what I was doing, it's perfect because I have resources. I know where to go. I know who to talk to. This is every high school coach. I can pick the dots and all that stuff. But going to South Florida, I have no South Florida ties. So everything I did was new. It was like, hey, who's this people? Who do I talk to? Who did this? So, we got through, the basics. They had played football before, but just like football. And then they were trying to jump into NAIA. And anyone that's been with NAIA, it's the Wild Wild West.
Yes, it is.
There's not many rules. There's just, if they can get them if you can get into school, I had guys that played semi-pro football. They were like, oh yeah, I got eligibility. I'm coming in, and I'm like, is this legal? And they're like, yeah, it's legal. It's legal. So I'm like, okay, okay, all right. So, but we got a chance to play a game. Went down and played Erskine and got up there, which to me was an accomplishment in itself from what we dealt with from January to September. And then, just wasn't a good fit for me in the university, so we decided to part ways. But in coaching, it's just one of those life lessons. It's one of those things where, any job you do, whether it's head coach, whatever, you just do your research. You talk to people. Hey, if you work there, what is it like? And I was just so excited and so ready to be a head coach and so ready. I don't care. I don't care if we don't got anything. We'll make it happen.
Right.
I was a dreamer, but that's me. And I would do it again in a minute. That's just how I'm wired. So it didn't work out, but it ended up working out for me because, like I said, I'm back home and getting a chance, like you said, to be back in the conference and excited for the next chapter.
So, as you just said, you're 42 and it's late July and it's time to play ball. So your wick still really is burning for this game of football.
Oh, yeah.
What is it that makes you love this? What are you getting out of this?
I think it is the opportunity to change young men's lives. And that's always been, I look at it, I've always recruited, more the inner city. Now, I haven't gone into Compton or Watts, but Pittsburgh and, Columbus and Baltimore and DC. And these kids, if Coach Wilson is not offering him a scholarship, he's not going to do anything. And I look at these moms, I look at these grandmas, I look at, these families, and, they're really depending on me, coach. I'm sending you my son, take care of him. And I love that responsibility. I love that. I love a chance to see a kid that's 18, a little bit immature, maybe hasn't been coached hard, maybe, just needs someone to believe in them and to say, hey, I'm the one who believes in you. I'm going to think you're going to do greater things than you can even imagine. And let's go. Now, can you save everybody? No. And that's one of the hardest parts, because you want to say, hey, okay, coach, he's not going to do it. Coach, he's not going to do it. Yes, the natural instinct of just, you want to save him. So when I was my early coaching, that's what I struggled with. When I had a kid who just
He wasn't going to do it.
And outside of me walking him to class, I just could not do that. But there's so many other kids that it does work for. So, that's what keeps you going. For that one kid that one bad apple, there's always 40 other guys who do that.
Yeah.
So how do you make that's really fascinating, because when you're recruiting a kid and you think, how much are you assigning to, we need this kid because he's a player and he's got skills, and then how much is, boy, this kid needs some help and I need to be a mentor to him. And then do you ever find yourself saying, he's not the best player, but he needs a mentor? I mean, that's
it is tough, because at our level, we need everybody.
Oh, really? Okay.
We need, where there's a kid that you think, you really got to do your homework. You talk to the coach and you talk to him like, can we see this happening? Does he just need structure, or does he, what does he need to get away from where his situation? So you're always weighing that. And then a lot of times you just don't know until you get him there.
Yeah.
You just, hey, we're going to take a chance with it, and hopefully, he can get through it. Hopefully he figures it out.
Yeah.
We've asked you this, excuse me, before when you've been on, but I'm fascinated by the answer. So when you come in here and you sit with us, we talk to you, and we can go back, as we just did, to your Weir days and remember you playing in high school and in college and in the NFL. But these guys you're coaching now have no idea what you did in the past. So how do you marry that, here's how good I was and here's how the knowledge that I gained there translates over to helping you when you're dealing with a subset of kids that doesn't just know you on its surface? How do you marry those things up?
I've always done it. I always wanted it to happen organically. I've never wanted to be a guy who come in, I was all conference and I was a player of the year and just that.
So you don't wear your Bengals shirt into the first meeting?
Yeah, I don't. But it's always awesome. You're out in December, you're going to these high schools, you talk to kids, you get them in a room like this, and 4 or 6 guys, and then after, coach, man, you were you were a bad dude, man. I see that run. You know what I mean? I've seen that. So I've always wanted it to happen organically. So because I want them to want to know. It's like with anything. I always tell guys, like, when you're dating a girl, you don't wait for the girl to come to you. You see her. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? What's your name? You know, you're going after them. So and that's how I want the recruiting, because that's how I know that you're really interested. So any kid that's going to do homework on me, I'm thinking, well, that kid is one of the guys I want to do.
It is. That's good. That is good.
What's it take to be successful at the Division II level? You've played at the highest level. You've played in the NFL. You've played, obviously, Power 5. At this level, D2,
right.
What do you need to win?
I think it's development and structure. Obviously, we are very understaffed. We're very, resources aren't what it is at the D1 level. But, I think development. We get a kid, I see, for me, I see a running back who maybe is not 5'11", he's 5'9", maybe 180, but I can see the burst, I can see the quickness. Okay, so I can teach him something. We see a receiver, you're always trying to find the outliers, with that, because if he was that, he's going to Maryland, he's going to WU anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, you seeing that, and then having a plan for that kid that you really say every semester, because now we're in a semester. It's not year by year. We're kind of semester to semester with these kids,
week to week.
But every fall, yeah, exactly, yeah. But every fall, in the fall, okay, this is where you're at. This is where you can get. Spring, this is where you're at. This is where you can be. So now this kid, like you said, believes in you, and now he wants to continue. Because I think everyone always talks about the portal, and I think the portal. There's always been transfers. No, I don't know where people act like, the transfer portal came out of nowhere. Everybody, could get in the portal. Now it's a lot more prevalent, but I think it becomes like, I always use my situation again. I sat behind the greatest running back in the history of West Virginia football, Avon Coburn, rusher. And I easily could have said, well, hey, he's going to be here 4 years. He was a freshman, I was a freshman, and go. But I took the challenge to say, well, hey, how do I get on this field? And then I kept working, and all of a sudden there's a 2-back set out there where we're kicking people's butt, So
Mm-hmm.
So I tell kids, it's not your career is not going to always go how you think it's going to go, and I think that's the biggest perception. You got to break.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I understand your goals, I understand what you want to do, but this is reality. Okay, and how do we get better? Like you said, week to week. Now, how can we get better at this? I want my guys when we go into camp. I'm not worried about. Bloomsburg, our first game, I want you guys to get as mentally prepared and ready for the season as you can, because we don't get to have the summer programs and all that stuff. So we'll have to do some conditioning things and all that kind of stuff to get ready. But that's all I want them worried about.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about homecoming. Just keep them on that singular focus. And then when it's game week, okay, now we can transition to our next part. And I found that's worked for our guys because they're going to put pressure on themselves anyways. I'm supposed to do this or I'm supposed to do that. And you just kind of reel them in, hey, I know that's what you're thinking about, but this is what's really what matters right now.
Yeah. 3 Guys Before the Game is brought to us by the Burdett Camping Center, continuing to offer an unbelievable $10,000 off the amazing Forest River travel trailer and toy hauler. That's right, $10,000 American dollars off. Visit Burdett Camping at burdettcamping.com. That is burdettcamping.com. And Brad, as we've talked about, one of the great highlights on that $10,000 off deal is that 30 by 72-inch sleeper sofa and that big old awning that it's got.
Power awning, I think.
Yeah, power awning.
Yeah, not just an awning, power awning.
Yeah, power awning. 3 Guys also brought to us by Comax Digital phone systems, competitively priced using the most efficient technology, which means that you'll save money. Call Comax for a free price quote, whatever works for you. 1 line, 1,000 lines. They handle your business data. They'll bring in a remote team. Well, they don't bring in the team because they're remote. They'll have a team somewhere looking into your stuff, your IT and your data, so don't put yourself out there at risk. They'll make yourself safe and secure. It's Comax Business Systems. Why? So let's do this. So Don Nealon recruited you.
Mm-hmm.
That Rich Rod came in. So you saw from 2 of the all-timers. Yeah. Why do you think Don Nealon was successful? Why was Rich Rodriguez successful? They coached differently.
Well, I think when Nealon was here, that staff had been together for almost 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's obviously an anomaly now. So a lot of, the last 2 years with Coach Nealon, he wasn't what a coach that he was in the 90s. I've always talked to guys, you run into guys like, oh, man, you guys got the best of Coach Nealon because, he was really a fiery guy. But his just genuineness to him, every player that ever sees Coach Nealon, they can't wait to get up, run up there, hug him, grab on him. They can't wait because that's just what it was. He taught that. He taught you about pit first. First thing, he's like the pit is in the little pit. And he's trying to get out. He taught you what was important. And then it taught you why the state is important. Taking us over to Children's Hospital and doing all that stuff and building all that base into us. So even if you aren't not playing or you're not, you still believe in something else. And he was just great. And then when Coach Rod comes, he brought the excitement and that energy and that new offense because we were spread before there was spread. What spreads become now. I think it's the air raid. That's the new rage. But we were kind of evolving that with that, but we ran the ball, so it was different because everybody's like, man, we were a spread run team, but that's what we were.
Power spread run.
Power spread, and Rashid and those guys get out there, and KJ Colson and all those guys. We had so much fun just going up and down, running up and down the sidelines. So, but Coach Rod taught us structure. Knowing everybody's name. You had to learn Lori and Miss Kim and everybody's name, and you wouldn't think at 20 years old that's important, but it is. Now it's stuff that I look back on now. Some of the stuff I institute into now. Hey, learn your teacher's name. Learn that because it may help you. They might want to help. Hey, you might need something. They're more apt to help you when they genuinely got some feelings for you.
When you guys were practicing, who was the player on defense that you disliked the most?
Disliked the most? Oh, Grant Wiley. All-American, consensus All-American.
He'd hit you when you're supposed to be thudding. He
played
crunch
hard. Like when it was whistle to whistle, and that's my best friend to this day. I call him anytime, but when it was football time, it was football time. I'm trying to rip your head off.
He does. I mean, you remember Sean Swindell?
Oh yeah.
He corkscrewed him during two-a-days. I never saw anything like it. Like it was like we're up in the grass practice field, and I'm watching. And he gets them and starts spinning them like you're going to put a cork into the ground. And I went like, whoa.
And like I said, we practice. You like you said, I'm sure you can go to a practice now and go look back on the day. It's night and day. We were pads. I'd always tell Danny, like, hide those gold pants. We don't want to wear them because, we knew it was coming. We knew it was coming. And but that's what we needed, though. I think he knew we had to be tough, grinded, kind of, Mike Lorello type guys that just grinders, punch you in the face, type guys, and that was us. That was our niche.
Take about 100 Mike Lorellos.
He was one of the best.
Silent, just always in the right place, right time, make
probably
plays.
Only about 190 soaking wet.
Exactly.
And that was the identity, and you'd hear that when you interviewed play-by-play guys or coaches from the other teams. We know when we come to West Virginia what you're going to get. You're going to get punched in the mouth.
Or hits in the mouth, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that was through Don Nealon, too. It was always
absolutely.
that blue-collar mentality. Hoppy, you go Stacy Smith, Travis Curtis, all those guys, they would come in and just take your absolute fillings out of your teeth. That was West Virginia football. Right. That's what it needed to be. Like, why do we have to deal with this?
Yeah, I don't know the picture of the Miami guy who's getting cracked back on.
Yeah, Chris Brown. Yeah, and it was Tim Brown was hitting the receiver. It was Chris Brown.
I remember seeing that.
His feet straight up in the air, perpendicular to the ground.
You see black and white fellas. You're like, oh my God, who is that?
He was a bad boy. That was Tim Brown.
Hey.
Yeah.
Orlando, those guys, bring it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're here. And you're at Fairmont, like, okay, as you said earlier, like you're always looking optimistically, you're always looking ahead. What do you want to do? You want to stay in this world?
You know what? If I've learned anything in coaching, that whatever job comes to you is going to come to you. It's not one of those things that it's going to be on Indeed and you're just going, love to apply to that. That sounds great. Oh, man, benefits and health, that sounds awesome. So every job I ever had, I've never applied for. It's just, hey, I got a position. What do you think? So, be awesome. Like I said, obviously getting the taste of being a head coach would absolutely love to do that. But I'm a servant leader. So if it calls on me to be a position coach or a coordinator and never get that head coaching job again, I'll be happy because I'm still coaching football, still doing what I love. But I'm always going to be optimistic. Always going to be ready for whatever's next. Be prepared. And like I said, we'll see what happens.
Physically, how are you? You heard it all.
No, No,
Good.
I love workout. I get up 6 a.m. every morning and work out. And
How many days a week you lift?
Man, heavy probably once a week, but I probably lift probably 3 or 4 times a week, just depending.
What are you doing for cardio?
Well, hell, getting back here is I can get on these heels again.
Walk.
Now you're old. Do we have any yoga mixed in there? You can't just be squatting and benching.
Oh yes. I am a yoga guy. Not afraid to.
So is Grant. Grant fell into that hot yoga.
Not afraid. Well, I haven't done that because I'm a sweater already. So
Okay.
I feel like hot yoga would probably put me over the edge. So just the normal stretching and getting some freedom of movement.
Got to do that.
Good. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, otherwise that stuff.
It's important. Like,
It is.
I was reading. I've gotten into reading since COVID, and movement. 20 minutes a day.
Boom.
Of some type of movement. Whether you're running, jumping, you can
Stretching,
You can sit in your chair and do stuff.
Yeah, that's what's happened to Hoppy. He kind of didn't. He pulled back on that. He got tight. Now he's just not the same guy. Not the
That's
same.
not true. He's been on 19 hikes here in the last couple of months.
He had a situation there at Monticello.
Well, I know that was
Monticello.
unusual. Freak accident.
Quincy, I had an injury, but I came by. I was back quick.
He had
Back
surgery.
quick.
Quick healer. You
Had
were a
surgery.
quick healer.
Had surgery on my left foot. I'm back. Back quick.
Wow.
Yeah.
Those hikes are dangerous. I've been down there, Summers, Fayetteville, and those trails, and I don't think I've been on the same one twice. I'm always like, hey, I want to go back to that place we went to, and I'm just like, this is not where
Rashid's
we
a big hiker, right? Doesn't
were.
he like to go
He's a
hike?
mountain biker too. I have to go buy a bike.
Rashid is?
He's
A mountain biker?
He's a biker. So we're going to get on this Mon Trail, and
Dude, you can go.
allegedly he has driven 40 miles somewhere. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
where.
that's what? If you do the right trail, you'll go right into a Go-Mart.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll go right into a Go-Mart. And when you get there, if you haven't yet, you can use your Go-Mart rewards card, and you can sign up for that at
Nice
gomart.com. Remember, go for good times, go for Go-Mart. So whether you're bicycling across the state of West Virginia or driving, pull into Go-Mart, get yourself a 32-foot fly rod Slim Jim, perhaps one of their new additions, a 92-pound Reese cup, and a barrel of pork rinds. It's all available for you at Go-Mart. Save your money on food and gas. It's gomart.com. And in all seriousness, get the rewards card because every time you use it, you can save money on your gas and your food. So that's a good deal.
There you go. Well, speaking of Flatwoods, I think they had the best pepperoni rolls I've ever had down there. I don't know where they get them from.
Yeah, at the Go-Mart?
The one of the Go-Marts. But I stopped there one day, and that was my forever stop.
How about that? I had a good one in Wheeling last night at the concession stand.
You had a pepperoni roll?
Yeah, it was late.
You didn't bring me one?
Well, you were doing the game. You want to chew? You want to announce with your
Yeah,
mouth
at that
full?
point, I was so hungry I would have, yes.
Dude, it was
good.
It was
At the concession stand right there at West Bank Arena?
There was like 5 minutes to go in that game, which is pretty much already determined. So I walked up there, and there's like 4 people working in the concession stand, no customers. And so I kind of I said, now what is in that thing? That'll warm
holding court.
I know. You see, I was just going to say, he didn't just walk up and say, I'd like a pepperoni roll, please.
No,
right?
he's got a whole court.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
So they said, pepperoni. I said, are they any good? She said, yeah. So
Cheese?
No.
Hot or cold?
It was hot. It was really soft. Bread, it was like really, really good. How about this? Pepperoni roll, Kit Kat, and a bottle of water for just $9.
You did all that last night?
For $9.
That's pretty good.
That was dinner. I went to the movies the other day, $24. Ooh, $24.
You went to the movies?
Yeah.
You went to a movie theater?
Yeah, Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer. You seen that?
I have not yet. I've heard. I was
a lot of people talking about that.
Dude,
Tony, and you never go to the movies.
No, last one I think I saw was like Old Yeller. But like Oppenheimer, not a movie. It's a film. Huh. It's a film. It's just like, holy potatoes.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Well, I'm a history guy, so
you'd love this, dude.
Definitely want to check that
West
out.
Virginia Connection, because they're talking about heavy water, and they made heavy water in Morgantown.
At the
right
Morgantown
over
Industrial Park.
At the Industrial Park. Morgantown Industrial Park. They made heavy water for the hydrogen bomb. Yeah, so it's all there. Now, they don't mention Morgantown, but that is, in all reality, that's
the old Ruby factory?
Sterling.
Is that what it was?
No, right across the river. It was like they built a factory, just like wink, wink, wink. We're building a factory.
Well, I thought that was...
Yeah, they thought it was something, but it was something else, I think.
Let me check.
Yeah, check
so
that
if you're
out.
going to the TBT Thursday, if you're listening to this before Thursday, you recommend the pepperoni roll at West Bank Arena?
Yeah, and the people...
A lot of Mountaineer fans are
service.
Really game hop, yeah.
Hey, I listened to the game. It was noise. I mean, there was some crowd.
Oh, yeah,
it
was good. It was good.
I think that's exciting, though. I think whoever thought of that is a genius.
Yeah.
The Elam ending, right? The way it ends.
The Elam, I mean, just getting guys back. I think I seen Levon. It was Fields, point guard from
Levance Fields.
I'm just like, oh my god! It takes you back into history.
Sam Young and Levance Fields, you're looking at it going like, and what was special last night was the entire current Pitt team was there behind the basket.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Both Capel brothers were back there, and those guys yapped the entire game at the Heard That guys.
There was some great talking.
There was some great talking going on last night. All game long. The Marshall fans or the Marshall players back and forth with the current Pitt team. It was good theater.
Yeah, that's
and
great.
there was a member of the West Virginia House of Delegates who was asked to leave the game.
Oh, I saw someone asked to leave. I didn't know who it was.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. You've never been asked to leave anything, have you, Quincy? You've always behaved.
I've always.
I guess.
Sean Fluharty.
Okay.
Delegate Sean Fluharty. And I texted him this morning. And I said, what the heck happened? And he said, I was just jawing with the Pitt guys. Why can't you jaw with the Pitt guys? Giving Pitt guys credit. That's a valid argument. I'm not criticizing you. I'm just saying I was just confirming you were asked to exit the building.
He saw the majority of the game.
A lot of talking was going on all over.
That's okay. That's okay. That's
great.
fine.
Love the trash
That's
talk.
that's basketball.
It is basketball. That's the one sport is actually allowed, I think.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's just summer basketball more so than any. Summer basketball is all talk.
That's part of it.
You go into like Rucker Park, you go to the big places across the United States, and it's just a constant yap fest. Yeah. Guys with microphones out there, PA systems, the whole
It's
thing.
part of the culture of summer basketball. And that it was good natured. I mean, Coach Stevenson, after he hit the game winner, went directly down and had a little yap session there.
I thought he was well behaved, as I predicted.
He was, but after the game, he had been storing that up there for a while. He brought it as soon as that game winner went in. He broke from the celebration and went the other way to.
Did he come from the G League and just change uniforms and start playing?
Yeah, just said, "Let's go, give me the ball. I got it."
Tell you what,
made a shot.
We'll talk about
they got their hands full in game 2. They got their hands full in game 2. Heard that
deep.
Wow.
They've had it. I said last night on their broadcast, they must have had some nice NIL money set aside because they've gone out and brought in a couple additions to their roster. Really good. Rob Gray that played at Houston.
$1 million.
It looked like Fly Sandwich-Jamma.
Yeah,
the highlights.
Oh my goodness, that baseline was open for business. You know how they say Hoppy, West Virginia, open for business.
Open for business.
That baseline, those guys weren't coming back on defense, and that baseline was a dunk fest.
10 dunks last night.
Is that what they had?
10
I
dunks.
believe it.
So that'll be a fun game Thursday night. Best Virginian heard that.
If you want to go up to West Banco Arena, you can do it a couple of ways. Traffic on 70. We got snarled in some traffic construction.
There's a lot of construction there.
Yeah,
including Main Street.
Oh, yeah, we saw that. Budapesky was there, wasn't he?
Buttigieg was there.
Buttigieg was there last week.
I tell you, when it's done, it's going to be nice.
Sure. So you can either drive or, if you want to, you can take a pontoon boat because it pulls right up to the back of West Banco Arena. There's water.
Be a nice way to do that.
Right there. And at Lou Wendell Marine Sales, you can pick up that pontoon boat. They're the biggest pontoon boat dealer in the state of West Virginia. 4 decades old, family owned, which means that they are a success because you can't stay in business that long if you're not successful and treat people right. State of West Virginia's experts in pontoon boating, the biggest dealer in the state. Visit them at LouWendellMarineSales.com. LouWendellMarineSales.com. They sell the Avalon pontoon boats manufactured 100% right here in the United States. That's out there, not in the Kanawha Valley. That's where Quincy used to live.
Yeah.
Right, St.
Let
Albans.
us take a little spin on that, you know.
Well, yeah. I mean, you'd look
Get
good.
get a little drone footage of us on pontoon boats, you know.
Marketing.
You got it.
I mean,
he's on it.
It was
He's on
Morgantown Ordnance Works.
Yeah, that's what it was called. Morgantown Ordnance Works. Yeah. Pretty wild. Heavy water.
It was a combination. They had West Virginia had workforce. They had water for transportation. They had coal, which you needed for the energy. So they had a lot of things that were needed there.
Mm-hmm. Well, we shot in that building for a video many years ago. We mentioned Chris Ura earlier. Mm-hmm. Many years ago, he had a business, Sustain You, and we shot inside the abandoned factory. It had big, the walls were knocked out halfway, and they said, like this, see those pits? Like that was it, right? That was it. That's where they were doing this testing and stuff like that. Wow. Hey, food-wise, so do you cook?
I do cook. Love to cook.
On an average, so what's your best thing that you make?
I like to habit myself as a grill master.
Oh,
So,
meats.
I haven't gotten to the smoking thing.
Yeah, that's fun.
Everyone's like, I got a smoker. I like, but I'm just a grill guy. I want to get my tongs and just flip them. And no, it ain't done yet.
What percentage steak between steak and hamburger are you grilling? Mostly steak.
Mostly steak.
And what type of cut do you use?
I'm all over the map. Whatever I can get at the Kroger's. Shout out to Kroger's.
The Kroger.
Kroger, hey, Kroger, this might be a good show for you to advertise on since you get about 99 free mentions every 2 months.
Yeah. But usually you can find, if you go a little later, I've learned in the night to find a little better prices on the meats.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when
you're talking to a Kroger's veteran here, loves the meat guy, right? Has to go to the meat counter every time when he's in there.
So you go to the
Especially the Gucci.
You go to Gucci
Kroger. I do.
So Bill's the meat manager.
Here we go.
He'd love to meet you. He's a huge Mountaineer fan.
I'm going to stop and
so like one of these days when you go back there, Ed works mostly the counter, but just go see Bill. Ed's a good dude too. He's a Penn State guy, but we'll still like him. Got to cheer for somebody. And just go in there and just say, "Hey, Bill, Tony sent me over. What do we got that's good?" And he'll give you some nice stuff.
There you go.
Yeah, good stuff.
So you go there and you get a special cut. Like you're not looking.
No, I get my chicken. I'll get right out of the conventional package. They got a pretty interesting thing with their chicken over there. It's packaged, but it's local. It's produced raised. They got a QR code on it. You can hold your phone on the QR code. It opens up. It tells you what farm was raised at. Like normally in Virginia, like Bob and Sarah, they raise these chickens, and it does taste better. It's a better chicken, locally grown.
Local. I like that.
Check with Reed Williams on that.
Reed's out of the chicken business.
What?
Yeah, he's out.
What?
Yeah, he's out.
That's news. You're breaking news
on 3.
Yeah,
breaking news. Hold on. What happened?
It was on one of those 8-week vacations that you take. I talked to him, so I wasn't able to relay it to you quickly. But he did to say hello to you. Says that he loves you, and he got out of the chicken business.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Still farming there.
Okay.
In Hardee County.
Reason he's out of chickens?
Ton of work, and to be quite honest with you, he got tired of the day-to-day.
Yeah.
Like not all the chickens make it.
I understand that. I know not all chickens make it, but
so in the morning you got to go out there and deal with all the chickens that don't make it.
He was
to Kroger.
Well, they do, I think, like young broilers, and they were made soup out of them or something. I mean, they did.
Well, I mean, I didn't know the recipe there. I'm just. I mean, I couldn't.
He got married,
Yeah, I'm aware of that. Okay. During football season, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he missed a broadcast with us because he was getting married.
God forbid. So yeah, he said
straight priorities.
Reed's one of the all-time greats.
Oh, yeah,
take about 400.
He coached with us down there first year.
I'd take 400 to him and just say, give me Reed Williams as if like for every year. I'll take Reed Williams's. Yeah, just super smart.
And again, development. Think of Zach Cooper, the guys like that. He's a state trooper now. You would never think he played football. Just nice and simple, but Barwitz, he'll build you. He's like, just give it to me. We'll build you up.
And Reed was season surgery, season surgery.
Just kept coming.
Well, kept coming. How about this cat? How many times you been cut?
Oh, 3 times.
3 times.
Knee? Did you ever have a knee?
Blows his knee in the spring game.
ACL, yeah.
In the spring game.
Spring game. First, second place, something like that.
In the spring, what are you doing taking hits in the spring?
Well, you know what? My running style was, I'm not going down. So typical me, one guy hanging on my back, another guy on my other arm, and just get sliced down. Football play.
Oh, geez.
It was. I remember, and it was like a pall fell throughout the entire stadium. It was like, because we always say the most important thing is the spring game, that the trainers never go onto the field.
Yeah,
that's a good spring game, is when the trainers don't go out onto the field.
I told Dave, I was like, I want to walk off, but he wouldn't let me.
No, and that was a whole season. You were done.
Yep. Hate it, but I'm glad it happened early though, because like I said, I know some guys that have missed their senior years, and
So remind me then, what did that do by you sitting out the year depth chart wise? Because you mentioned Avon's there.
So I played as a freshman,
right?
So 99 was my freshman year. So me, Lance Frazier, and Brian King were the only three freshmen that made.
3 good
Take
players.
all 3 of you guys again 100 times over.
And then that following spring is when I got hurt. So missed the 2000 season. So Coach Galen's last year was back for 01.
So Rich's first season, you were there.
Red shirt, like I said, it happened early, and then like I said, I sat out the season. But if I had to come back and practice, I could. But I was like, no. Again, having a father, no rush.
Right.
In the spring.
So that's a huge moment in the history of WVU football. So Don's last year, they win the bowl game, and here comes Rich. And Brad Lewis obviously was the quarterback in Don's last grouping. And then Rich comes in, and he's going to change the entire style.
Yeah.
3 wins, right?
I think so.
3 and 8. 3 and 8. I think it was still 11 games.
Yeah, 3 and 8.
I think.
So, like, could you tell what was the inner dialogue among the players when that was all happening? Because 3 wins is not here.
Yeah. Winter conditioning was very interesting and eye-opening. Summer was interesting. But, again, seeing it, like I said, I was always kind of a big guy. I like to say big. But, I came in 205 pounds, which is decently big for running back these years. And once Barr was them guys, I was 225, like that. It was just like boom. They put it on you. So
for those who don't know, Mike Barr was the former strength coach.
Barr he has a great gym down Deerfield Beach, still doing amazing. Trains everybody. But we seen it. We didn't know if it was going to relate. And like I said, that's kind of what, like I said, once that first year, and even if that 2000 year, that's Miami national champions. I think Maryland went to the Orange Bowl. We played Notre Dame. I think was on. We played a pretty tough schedule at that. I think we played 5 ranked teams in a row, something crazy. But we were putting chips in the pot.
So you could feel it
exactly. And then, like I said, Cincinnati, we finally get. We went out. I think we went up to Wisconsin and kind of got. It was like, oh no, here we go again. Yeah. And then that next week was like, boom, here it goes. Everything we've been doing the last year and a half has paid off.
Why was Mike Barr was successful at what he did? I
think he coached not for fear, but you had such a respect for him, and if he told you that you can bench 225 and jump on a ball and make it, you believed it. You didn't question. Anything he said, you believed it, and you would try. Like, all right, well, he was always, if it was max day, you always was like trying to hide from Mike because he's like, I think you can do 655, and you're like, Mike, that's kind of crazy, but you tried it. That's what you did. And he's just great man, great family guy. Just love that guy.
So, am I correct that like he was like super, like I forget what it was, whether it was kickboxing or black belt or whatever, but like if anyone ever tried to come, like he would always take it. Like didn't matter if it was the biggest lineman or the baddest dude. Yeah. If they ever made a move toward him, like in a matter of 3 seconds, he has him on the ground. Didn't someone challenge
him once in a locker room and he handled it, and it's like everybody's like, oh, okay.
I can't remember the guy.
Or is that urban legend?
No, that's definitely a true story.
He took guys down. Like he had a pet. I got a friend that went to school with him, and he went on vacation or something. I was leaving town for a little bit. He said, "Can you watch my pet?" And he goes, "Yeah." So guy goes over to his house. And he watch his dog. What? It was a wolf.
It was a wolf. Yeah.
Excuse me.
He had a wolf. His pet was a wolf. So that kind of just fills you on his mindset.
That was his mindset. Yeah. But I mean, in any program, that's why their first hire is the strength coach, because it's the most important position in any sport.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was like an electrical plug that was always plugged in.
Oh yeah,
just live.
And some of his YouTube stuff where he would take one breath and just talk. it's legendary.
Now, so is he doing? I know Greg Jones is in that same building.
He's down. Like I said, I was fortunate because I was in Pompano Beach, and Deerfield Beach is the next town over. So I would go over there and mess with those guys a bunch. So
and he's got the UFC guys.
Big gym. It's awesome. Nice setup.
And he's doing tremendous amount. We need to get him on. He's doing tremendous amounts of things with people that have been paralyzed and
we started with Michigan with the young guy whose brother was in a car wreck, and his main goal was to get him out there. And now they have a whole wing of that. So
wow,
it is awesome. He's really tapped in to what it takes to get the people functioning and walking and doing all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing stuff. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, he'd be a great guy to have on here.
Yeah,
he'd have some stories for you.
Yeah, we got to get on that. That'd be a good one.
Yeah, that whole crew, Dan Moses, and all those guys.
Oh yeah. They had a TV show for a while.
Oh, I know. Dusty was in it.
Oh yeah, another legend.
Yeah, Dusty's down with
He's
Rich.
Down there, like I said, Pied Piper.
Yeah,
Rich blows that flute.
Rich is kind of like Blues Brothers when they drove and they kind of make the stops like Aykroyd and Belushi. They'd pull in and Matt Guitar Murphy's in the back cooking chicken, and like Aretha Franklin's working the front counter, and she sees him come in, and she goes, knew they were coming to get Matt Guitar Murphy to get him back into the band. And that's kind of how Rich, as you said, like Rich just goes like Mr. Softy Ice Cream Man, like they all just come running out there and go, we're going to go do it again, guys.
Yep. He takes care of his guys.
Yeah.
Always has.
Interesting. All right. Well, this was good. You have any questions for us before we do textual healing?
How are my Mountaineers going to be this year? What's going
questions for us?
Well, how are they going to be? No, seriously. So, dude, as you well know, what is it always? It's always turnover margin, and it's always the quarterback.
Well, I've seen those preseason rankings. I know that's got to fire
That's
any young lad up, and conference leaving, and I'm sure it's an interesting time to be in the Big 12. Again, I was here when we jumped in, so 2012. So it's interesting.
Quincy, as you know, that part of your success was the fact you had a good quarterback. You had Rashid.
Yeah.
So I mean, the quarterback, you got a couple of guys, but you don't know if either one is going to be the guy, and that's the most important guy on the field.
Yep, it is. But I'm always optimistic. You see him beat Oklahoma State. You see him beat some of these teams. In the rain and on the road, and like you said, I'm like, well, hey, if we can get that together, O lineman coming back.
This would be a great year for you. You got 132. Got 132
I
starts on the O line.
I seen Big Nestor. I was like, man, if I could have ran behind you, brother.
The O line's going to be nice.
Oh my goodness.
Frazier up front, one of the best returning centers in college football.
Yeah, local guy.
Milam on the left side.
Quincy, his senior year, he averaged 22 carries a game.
Oh yeah,
that's back when men were men.
Yeah. Give him the ball. Yeah. That's back when Rich had something working.
Oh yeah.
Most consecutive carries you had in a game.
I think 9.
9. 9.
Yeah, Pitt.
Carried the ball 9 times in a row.
9 times in a row.
I want to
that's
go
what
back.
game was. Like, hey,
just show me you can stop it. Go keep coming.
Keep coming until.
I'll give you to Quincy. See if you can stop him.
Pat White in the bowl game. I'd love to go back and count how many he had.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I always say. I mean, I hurt. I hurt watching him play because Rich just kept going, give it to him again, give it to him again, give it to him again. We're not giving the ball back. We're just going to hold on to the ball. We're going to win the game. And that was it. Holy heck, was that painful.
Pat stand up talking while he was getting up.
He just Pat, he looked like just, I'm hurting. Here, give it to him again. Yeah.
You were probably loving that 9 though, weren't you? You're like, just give it to me.
Every play. Let's go. Especially that game. Like I said, I don't know if people realize how that rivalry was, with Pitt, Tony O'Brien's and the Rutherfords, and obviously Larry Fitzgerald played, a little bit of
You
football.
got to know him?
Larry's a great guy.
How'd you get to know him?
Just through contacts in NFL events. His brother was at Marshall, so knew him a bunch. So just great guy.
Yeah. I ran into him a couple of years ago. I was down at the Greenbrier Golf Tournament. He was there playing. Mm-hmm. His waist is like 29 inches, and his shoulders are like this. I mean, he is like in perfect shape. Perfect. He's got a perfect build. He was a pretty good player.
Yeah, pretty good.
Like I said, anytime you can play more than 4 years and
first ballot Hall of Famer.
No doubt.
You think it bothers him that Pennington made a better catch in the game?
I think it does. A competitor like that, you always remember those little things.
The greatest of the greats. I mean, he is one of the all-time. We did a thing this season summer where we said who are the greatest receivers all time that have played at Mountaineer Field opposing team, and it's him and it's Randy Moss and Michael Irvin.
Right, those were the 3.
Vinny
Try and pick just receivers though. Try and pick between those 3 receivers: Moss, Fitzgerald, Michael Irvin. Pretty good 3.
We record on the 26th, the Wednesday. On Saturday of this week, which would be the 7, 8, 9. We're going to Ronceverte, Greenbrier County, and 29th. It's free and it's open to the public. And we're going to be there from 11 until 2. And there's going to be a ton of food trucks and food, and we're going to have a big time.
Pizza,
6-pence pizza.
Courchevel available.
Courchevel, fresh batch.
Will there be?
He's got his own beer, Q.
Really?
Yes.
Called Courchevel.
I'm
on that.
And it is off the chart good. Can't make enough. Can't make it fast enough, but they just took it out of the tank Monday of this week, the latest batch, and it will be fully present down there this weekend.
So
when we go Friday.
what do you do if you want to come to this? You just show up in Ronceverte and it's right there on the street? And
Walk onto the street. Just go to
show up.
If you know where the Sportsman's Tavern is in Ronceverte, that's where they're going to close the street off. Just a bunch of stuff. Our guys from Mountain Table that made our own coffee, the Three Guys Coffee, which is available at episode800.com, and all the stuff that they're doing. We're just going to talk to people. Mark Bowe from Barnwood Builders is going to be there. So it's just going to be a to-do. We're just going to have fun, talk, have fun.
Food, Kirchvale, and coffee. I'm pretty good.
You can start with coffee in the
Mark
morning.
Bowe with a big chainsaw.
So gonna big a big piece of lumber. So
that's Friday.
No.
Oh, Saturday.
That's
the
Friday.
29th.
We're doing a.
What are we doing Friday?
We're doing a private event for community schools in Greenbrier County, helping fund schools in Greenbrier County. That's Friday night.
But Saturday at 10, you just show up in the street fair.
Walk into the street.
Hoppy's like the parade marshal, the whole thing.
You're gonna have a big Corky
top hat.
Have a big Corky the Clown suit on. There you go. Walking around with a big walking stick. And now listen, this is how we got your ass, man. Now listen,
what?
You can't leave this one.
Yeah.
Like you leave this one and you're walking home because I'm driving you there. Because like where'd
There
Hoppy
was some
go?
question about whether you're giving me a ride or not.
I'm going to give you a ride
earlier this week.
Why did he balk at that?
He
That's
balked.
always
I
been
said,
fun. What are you balking
I
at
wanted
that?
to leave a little earlier. He does that show.
I know, but you hit the nail on the head. He'd get to the Flatwoods Go-Mart and turn around and come back.
I know.
So we'll just put him right in the car.
So this will be the first. We've done 2 of these
Get to the
events
county line and
publicly.
get the hives. Have to turn around.
He leaves. He cuts out early. He did 2 of them here in Morgantown. He cuts out early. This time, buddy, you might be able to get a drive down, but you're going to walk back.
So that's the state fair before the state fair. Then.
Yes. This might be a
Yes.
little bit bigger actually than the state fair.
Okay.
I don't know. It might be. We'll have to
That
see how that
pizza is
goes.
supposed to be really good. That's the pizza you had
Yes.
at that brick oven?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But it's a mobile brick oven.
6-pence pizza.
Yeah.
Oh. And the coffee's very good, which we've drank.
We'll start the day with the coffee.
And there might be some
It's planning the day.
there might be some Three Guys swag available, merch available as well, and Kirchvale.
Somebody's efforting that?
Our guy Dave.
Okay.
Where are
He's
we
efforting.
staying?
We'll have accommodations. That's all we'll say at this
Like
point. I don't know
3
if there's-
guys. Am I like sleeping on the floor? Should I bring a sleeping bag?
Don't worry
Since you
about it.
didn't
Just get in the car.
Since you didn't want to give me a ride anyway.
Just get in the car. We'll get you there. Just get in the car.
It's gonna be
That's right. That's basically our message. Just get in the car
And shut
We'll
up.
have the door running, air conditioner on.
Who's in the
finish
back?
your show, come out, walk out, get in the car, and let's go. That's it.
And your accommodations, 3 guys on a futon for one night and one night only. That's what that's going to be. Oh,
That's
futon.
when? Saturday?
We're go-
This Saturday.
Don't talk about me. Brad doesn't know when we're going to be there.
We're leaving Friday. We're
After
driving
my
down
public affairs show.
after his coffee clutch is
Yeah.
over Friday, and then we're going to drive down. We're going to be
But
there
the
for the
street
event
fair
Friday.
Saturday,
Saturday,
10 a.m.
11. But we're going to be there at 10.
Okay.
Early arrivals will see us there at 10.
Have some 3 guys coffee and maybe ready to go at 8.
Quincy, this is not as organized as perhaps your practices are.
No, this sounds like a party.
We'd love to. Hey, and you're the man about town. I mean,
Hey, yeah, I
if
might.
who knows?
come
Q
down.
might be there.
You know, Owen Schmidt's down there. I might.
Oh, yeah, he's down there.
I might tell him to sneak over there.
I wouldn't be
Come down,
surprised
see
if
us.
he comes around. He might
Yeah.
just drive his big UPS truck in.
If Quincy and Schmidt came, it'd be a big added bonus.
It's a good backfield.
Huge added bonus. Yeah, good backfield.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Owen. Owen does a podcast with Jed Drenny.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. So, I mean, you want to come in and ride the coattails, Owen? Come on in, buddy. Well, there's room. Here comes textual healing. Do it. By the way, I was just thinking the other day, I have not given this number for textual healing in like 7 months. So I don't even know how people know to text it. But there it is, 304-404-4083.
We got a new graphic.
Yeah,
What?
look at it.
We got a new graphic.
Yeah, look at it.
It's actually on a
304-404-4083. You know who made that?
Who?
Ben.
Huh.
Ben
But
Lohman.
It's an excellent graphic. I kind of miss the old rotary phone, though.
I mean, hey, Ethan, go ahead and put the old rotary phone up. I know you got that one happy still. What would you rather have? Better one? Better two? Better one?
Go back to 1. See that?
And see, you can tell, Quincy, by the graphic that the phone is ringing Because it's got those things around it.
There you go.
Like Quincy's old enough to.
We've done almost 500 shows, which is what, 5 years?
Yeah.
We made the graphic in 1973, though.
Yeah, exactly.
When was the last time you answered a phone like that?
But Quincy,
Hello?
Quincy's old enough, though, to remember when phones rang like that.
Oh, you believe it?
304 404 4083. Okay, show us the new one.
The cord that's all wrapped up.
There's the new one, Brad. There's the new one. Ben Lohman.
That's certainly more.
Ben Lohman, who's a rising high school senior, made that for us. And he's had a bang-up summer. Ben has. And Jumpin' Jack, he's done an unbelievable job, these guys.
Ethan at the controls today.
Ethan Collins
filling in nicely.
Wood County. I don't know if he's Parkersburg, Big Red, or a South guy. Is he South or Big Red?
Neither.
Maybe Williamstown.
What do you mean neither?
He's a Williamstown guy.
I'm about to say maybe Williamstown.
He's a Williamstown guy.
Oh, he went to Williamstown?
Yeah.
He's a Yellow Jacket?
Yeah.
But he says he's from Parkersburg. How does he claim Parkersburg if he went to
Well, I
Williamstown?
don't know about that.
That's the kind of thing like you're from Westover and he's from Morgan.
Oh. I always
Quincy
thought
might not. I mean, is Quincy actually from Weirton?
Yes, downtown Weirton, West Street.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Clearing that up.
Three guys.
Home place still there?
Yeah. Is your home still there that you were raised in?
Oh, yeah.
Home place still there?
Oh, yeah. Mill's not, but,
Yeah.
everything else around it is.
Yeah, the mill's gone.
Well, they're
man.
moving something in there. There's a big battery plant that's going in there.
Wow, that's good.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Texter says, "Hi, guys. It's been a while. I just wanted to say thank you for navigating what is proving to be a very interesting summer with the humor, humility, and insight we have come to expect from West Virginia's premier sports podcast. Seeing 3 of 5 WVU linemen on the PFF preseason All-American list, hearing that Coach Brown at Media Day, and overall considering West Virginia tends to do best when being painted as down and out, am I crazy to think a 2-1 start with a win over the Fighting Narduzzi's is something all Mountaineer fans should be excited about? Maybe I'm just taking too many of Hoppy's special gummies, but when I think of Kansas last year and the way they used a run-first offense, I have a feeling the world champion Mountaineers may be onto something. Hope I'm right, and thanks again for being a positive light in a difficult offseason. We love y'all. Signed by Benny in the Bay Area."
I'd take 2-1 today.
I thought you were going to say I'd take 2 gummies today.
No, well, that was earlier today, but I'd take 2-1 today.
I think 2-1. Obviously, you'd love to be 3-0, but I think 2-1 is extremely important to be.
Definitely.
I take 3-0, but 2-1. If you can't be 3-0, 2-1 is extremely important because then you got Texas Tech the next week.
Pitt game shaping up to be absolutely massive.
What's the line on that now? Do they do any preseason lines on that game?
I've got to look into that.
Quincy, what would be like? Penn State's going to be tough. So let's just say, I know you want to think you win every game, maybe okay, but you lose to Penn State. That Pitt game, I mean, you have to win the Pitt game, don't you think?
Definitely. I think, especially after how it went last year, kind of you turn your head and all of a sudden you're down. I think that's huge.
Yeah.
It's home. I think, I'm sure those guys are already getting hit up for, I know how we were, Pitt game. So it's already in their heads.
Yeah.
Like this game is, very, very important.
Absolutely. Texter.
Real quick. That's an interesting note he makes there about that Kansas offense. Obviously, what's going to drive that? You mentioned it earlier. Jalen Daniels was a revelation last year for Kansas, right? At the quarterback position. He had West Virginia on skates all night. So is Garrett Green ready to ascend to that position? Does he have a breakout season and able to control the ball, run the ball? That's the element of this that you haven't seen. You've got the great offensive line. You feel comfortable about that running back room. Can Garrett Green mix in his ability to run, not turn it over, throw enough to keep you off balance? Then you could be cooking with gas if that happens.
And if you're, and we got time to talk about this, but if you're, Brad, 4 games in, you're saying, well, is it Nico? Is it Green? Is it who should be in there? I mean, now you're in deep, deep trouble. If you're still trying to figure out who the guy is after 4 games, correct? No? Yes?
I think Q's saying, move the chains. Doesn't matter who it is.
I think you got CJ, big CJ. We can keep him healthy.
Makes you look small.
I like them other backs. I think you can sprinkle in, like you said, Garrett. If him only having to have a 4 or 5, I would hate to use him like Tim Tebow, but I think if we can really run the ball and get behind that line, and like you said, 2-1, and Penn State, they're a guy breaking a new quarterback as well. So, it's going to be interesting. That's for sure.
Texter, 3 guys, George and Mingo County checking in. He says, you'll just never know what you'll see when you're watching the Open Championship. Did you see this picture, Hoppy? Here's a guy watching the British Open on video. He's got the flying WV hat on. Guy was at the British Open. I'm sorry, I called it the British Open. The Open.
The Open.
Yeah, the Open.
The Open.
Flying the flag.
That's not DiCaprio, is it? You always see him with that.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he
It was
does.
framed up perfectly, though. It's like,
It is. Now, wait a minute.
like
where
superimposed.
is
He was at the British
British
Open.
Open.
It was a quick move by the camera. The guy was near the hole. He was on the course. And that's for real. Guy was there and had a flying WV.
that's how the
hat on.
TV broadcast looked. That guy's in the front corner of the TV screen. The golfers are in the back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Here's something for you guys. Ready?
Mhm.
Hey, team. This is George in Hong Kong.
Excuse me?
George in Hong Kong.
I was there late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
Actually, in Kowloon. But go ahead.
So it's George in Hong Kong, who, as you may recall, now living in Charleston.
Oh.
He worked for the U.S. government for years in Hong Kong as a construction guy.
Oh.
Just back from vacation last night, and I was in a store in Japan. I was reminded of your discussion of Japanese Kit Kats. So I have a few varieties to send you. I just need a mailing address so I can express ship that to you quickly. So he went to Japan, lived in Hong Kong, went to Japan, and thought of us while in Japan.
Nice.
And now he wants to send us some Kit Kats.
Because you said they have weird flavors.
Tremendous diversity in the Kit Kats over there.
Oh, you got 'em.
tremendous diversity.
So here's the box.
Oh, it's arrived.
Yeah. And he wrote us, holy hell, he wrote us another big long letter. So he says, hi, team. So I'm walking through a store in Tokyo with my son and a friend of his when we come up on a big promotional display of Kit Kats. They had a lot of varieties, and the 3 of us were chatting about them, and I remember there had been a brief discussion of Japanese Kit Kats on a 3 Guys episode. I picked up a few selections for you to try. While the product descriptions are, of course, mainly in Japanese, the photo illustration should be enough to help tell you what the flavors are. I would have my wife translate some of the details. She can read the Chinese characters portion of Japanese, but she's out shopping, and I want to get this in the mail now. Interesting note. I don't know Japanese, but I find it interesting that their alphabet actually consists of 3 different alphabets. 2 are phonetic, one for native words and the other for foreign introduced words, while the 3rd alphabet, called kanji, is primarily made up of Chinese characters, the latter of which my wife can read, and thus sometimes I get a rough idea of what's going on in a Japanese sentence. Warm regards, and keep up the good work. George in Hong Kong. Oops, I mean George in Charleston.
Wow.
So he sent us a boatload of Kit Kats. And, that is, what's that stuff that you dip when you go get a Chinese, when you get California roll?
Wasabi.
Yeah,
There's a
that's
wasabi Kit Kat?
That's wasabi, right? That's green
Well,
thing on the
can't read
back
from
there.
there. I mean-
That would be a wasabi, right?
I see. It's all in Japanese.
Wasabi thing in the front there?
It's a little bit kick.
How about this? Like, this isn't a Kit Kat, but it looks like some kind of a chip. Like, that's really good. Look at these Kit Kats here. This looks like, I don't know, like maybe, it says Cocoa Plain, like some chocolate ones there.
Kit Kat with my California roll.
These are really good. I've had these ones before. These are orange Kit Kats. Really good. This is a green tea Kit Kat,
Well, he sent a bunch
Healthy.
here. A lot.
right?
Is that healthy?
Sure.
You go with the green tea one?
Yeah.
And then he just went off. He went off the course, and he sent us like these spicy little peanuts and things like that. He was in Tokyo, and
How about that?
he sent this stuff
That's
to us.
very
So,
nice.
as you all know,
We should take these up to TBT Thursday when we go, see if Kevin Jones had tried any of these. He's been playing over in Japan.
yeah, he probably does. Yeah. So, thank you very much, George. These will get easily consumed.
Quincy's going in.
Is he?
Quincy's in.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, have you not had the
Quincy, you're in great shape. Do you eat?
AQ?
Do you eat?
You're gonna like those. You're really gonna. I mean, that
Oh,
is
he
gonna be.
is. He's
That's
getting
gonna be a
He
revelation
started
for
it.
you.
I'm going in.
There you go.
Yeah, really, really good.
I worked out this morning, so I can.
Yeah, I think you could probably get a one.
It's still the Kit Kat too.
Yeah, well, yeah,
So these are the orange ones?
dude, good, right? You like that, don't you?
Is it good?
Oh yeah.
Huh? Can you taste the orange?
Not
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, pretty good.
Oh,
Orange?
very orange.
Yeah, that's what I thought. They're really good.
Wonder why that's not in the domestic market.
I don't know. People rather eat.
That's not bad.
No,
I think
it's
there'd
good.
be a revolt. The same way that when they try to change Pepsi and people are like, "No, this." I think
Oh,
we're
yeah.
we're so used to
You gotta have.
we're not used to change.
So here's.
I think Kit Kat's pretty underrated.
You know, it's one of my favorites. Peanut M&Ms and Kit Kat are my two favorites.
Oh, this is the Halloween candy of the gods.
Yes, exactly.
What now? Is what?
That's the Halloween candy of the gods.
Well, they've made it. I don't know how they're doing it, but they've made a tremendous push the last 2 or 3 years that Kit Kats are the most readily available Halloween candy.
Oh,
Really?
No doubt.
In my experience, personal opinion.
No doubt.
It used to be harder to
That's
find.
not scientific.
Not anecdotal.
Uh-huh.
All right, Kit Kat or Reese Cup?
Kit Kat.
Kit Kat, says Quincy. Tony?
Yeah. Quincy, I go Kit Kat.
Red?
I mean, there's no wrong answer. But I'm just saying, if I
no,
had
no
to
wrong
go,
Reese's.
answer.
I mean, I love Kit Kats, but Reese's is
Reese's is
whatever
up there.
was coming after your Reese's or didn't matter for me.
Reese's.
Yeah.
Kit Kat's delivery's nice, though. You break it.
Yeah.
Very symmetrical.
it's good.
Quincy hitting another one?
I think that might be like a peanut butter-ish.
I don't think I've ever had those.
This is good. I like it when Quincy comes in because he'll dive into the Kit Kats with me. Rashid's sitting over here eating chia seeds while I'm pounding M&Ms. I feel bad.
He would, yeah. Remember when he was on our broadcast, we'd have barbecue, we'd have
Pizza,
macaroni
have it all
and stuff.
stacked up.
He'd come in with like a big thing of raisins,
You
know,
have
or
2
something.
rice cakes,
Nuts.
some chia seeds.
Yeah,
It'd make me feel worse than I already did. How's that one? That one's good too? You don't even know what flavor
If
it is.
you if you would like to send us food, our address. I get a lot of people say, "What's your address?" Our address is 260 Spruce Street, Morgantown 26505. 260 Spruce Street, Morgantown 26505. You want to hear some crazy, stupid stuff we did last night? So Hoppy.
yeah.
It's
This was a really bad decision.
it's 10:45-ish,
Listen, this was this is a bad decision.
or was it 11 o'clock? It was past 11 o'clock.
was
Whatever it was. It's
11:15,
late.
11:30.
So we're walking out to our car
Yeah.
to leave to come back to Morgantown, and it was Brad and I, and it's like we're tired, and we're walking to our car.
Hadn't eaten.
Hadn't
I had not
eaten
eaten.
any
I didn't
dinner.
realize
Why
he had
don't you
I had
all-
bad food management. I didn't have anything. I had to do
Horrific.
2 games. I didn't have time. Did sports. I didn't have time.
This
Just
girl's
couldn't.
walking in the parking lot. She's coming on an angle, walking in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And she's holding a big box, and it's donuts. And she goes,
And
now
you
I've
said,
never seen
how
this.
much do you want from
No,
that?
no.
Better.
She goes, hey, you guys want a donut? And we go, yeah, what do you got in there? Like she opens them up. I go like, where are they from? Like, and she said Kroger's. And so like I took a glaze. He goes, oh, I got to have double chocolate. So we just take them and we walk toward the car.
No,
And we
hold on.
start-
In fairness, I did ask her if they were laced.
You did.
I said, "Are these safe?"
You did. And if they weren't,
Decision.
I'm sure she
Parking lot
would have said,
wheeling.
no, they're
Like,
not.
I'm eating a donut.
So we just went
All-time
like
bad decision.
11 o'clock at night, eating a donut. It could have been full of whatever.
But you were, in fairness, you were hungry, and there was something made available. West Virginians help each other. Like, hey, you need a donut?
West Virginians help each other. Texter, TC and the other 2 guys. I loved the pod with Deuce. Football questions. I watched a few older games recently, the 80s and the early 90s. I noticed that guys' shoulder pads are much bigger, bulkier than when they are today. I'm wondering, why did they start getting smaller? I'd love to hear an experienced trainer discuss changes in equipment and turfs and how much severe injuries have been reduced, including light knee braces for the offensive line. When did we start seeing the rubber pellets start flying, showing up in punctures, reduced knee injuries, etc.?
Question for Quincy.
Well, I know the shoulder pad thing has become, excuse me, a mobility thing, speed. You know, you want to be lighter. I know a lot of stuff is fit custom now. It used to be only be helmets.
Mm-hmm.
Guy come in with the helmet. How's this feel?
Pump you
How's
up
this
with
feel?
air, yeah,
So now it's
exactly.
the whole, whole thing with the shoulder pads. So
Yeah.
But
So
pads in general, right? You used to have big pads in the pants. Now there's like the pants are basically like spandex tights, and there's nothing else in there. You're just playing.
light. Because I think they got sick of the people just cutting them.
Yeah.
So they've made them kind of shorter.
Did the thigh pads ever help though? The hip pads, did it ever help?
helped me.
Those big
For
old
Quincy.
hip pads.
It had to.
I wore butt pads. I told Danny, give me everything you got.
I would. Well, think about what you're doing. They're standing you straight up like a telephone pole and just running into you as hard as they can.
mini car wrecks.
Every carry is a mini car wreck.
Yep.
But still tackle football. I mean, they're still doing. I mean, I know it's not the same, but
One thing, the
they're
biggest
still
thing,
tackling.
and the braces too. I think that's changed. Now I remember seeing
Those are big Don Joy braces.
I remember seeing those guys having to wear those, and just crazy.
Yeah. And the pellets were part of. So when turf was turf, it used to be like indoor carpet, outdoor carpet. Pitts and the old Pitt Stadium. It was amazing how hard that surface was. It was just old turf. I mean, because that was the old days of turf. And so
old Mountaineer Field. Old Mountaineer Field.
Same exact stuff. And so field turf were the first folks, if I'm not mistaken, to insert the rubber pellets into the ground and give it that more of like a dirt surface feel. So that's been around a good chunk, 20 plus years. Texter, hey guys, with all the recent happenings of departure with Bob Huggins, here's my question. Who does West Virginia bring back to honor first for what they did at WVU, Bob Huggins or Rich Rodriguez? Both had messy departures, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Caleb, on the edge of the gorge in Fayetteville.
I don't ever see that for Rich.
Really?
I don't. I don't.
We got 20-year Sugar Bowl anniversary coming up, right? Because 5 was the Sugar Bowl, so 25. So you're not too far away from that.
Okay, but are you talking about just bring Rich back or Rich with the team? Because Rich with the team, I could see is a different thing than saying at this game we're going to honor Rich Rodriguez.
Okay.
Are we talking north end zone here?
North. He's going.
Good north end zone reference.
Good north end zone reference. I don't know. Just make a hypothetical. By themselves.
Rich by himself. I don't see that, but I could certainly see the Sugar Bowl team. Rich with the Sugar Bowl team.
Okay.
I could see that. Huggins. That there's a long way to go before that happens. A long way to go. There is a lot of hard feelings on both sides on that, and there'd have to be a pretty serious change in the administration and leadership at WVU, which may happen when Gordon Gee retires in a couple of years. If Ren Baker's still around, there's gonna have to be a lot of time to pass here before that happens.
Texter, ciao, Tony. I'll be heading down to Orlando for the UCF game. Like you, I'm a food snob and have to look ahead for places to eat when traveling. It's only 3 months till kickoff. I'm getting prepared. Do you have any recommendations? I found a pizza spot that I've got to try out. It's called V Pizza, Lake Monte Vista, near Disney Springs. I can charge my Tesla while grabbing a bite to eat. Here's the link. Check out the menu. A lot of San Marzano sauce used in their dishes. I'd strongly advocate for that. I did take a peek at the website. It looked good.
Speaking of Orlando, real quick, can I get a mention in, a shout out?
Yeah.
To a listener of the program. Hoppy, I was in Orlando Airport over the weekend.
Okay.
Had a gentleman come up to me. Eric Knutson and his wife Melanie traveling back to Glendale, West Virginia, through the Orlando airport. Had a nice chat.
Probably
your name came up. Yeah, reference you, talked about you. Big listener of the shows. Their daughter Lydia, big Mountaineer fan.
Okay.
Just graduated from WVU.
So they just flagged you? They saw you and flagged you?
Yeah, Eric.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
Shout out to the Knutsons.
Mountaineer fans everywhere.
Everywhere in Orlando.
Well done.
Texter, here I am celebrating Best Virginia's Elam ending versus Du Bois, 70-68. Ethan, can you put the picture up there of Brad and myself? This is post-game last night. It's John S. Marshall.
Of course.
You know him, Q.
Oh, yeah.
You know John S. He's a golf tournament up there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they love
Helped
you.
with the MAC in that area for years.
Oh, my God. The money those guys have raised for scholarships.
That's
John S. Marshall. And Hoppy, he always introduces himself as John S. Marshall. Huge listener to this podcast.
Good to see
But there's a lot of John Marshalls out there. There's a lot of John Smiths out there.
There's a John Marshall school.
Right. But you put your middle initial out there and like, right, Brad? Like you just always know John S. Marshall.
John S. Marshall.
I loved it.
It was great to see him. I'd been a while since I'd seen John.
Very nice.
He was
you guys did a nice job, too, last night on that game.
We had fun.
Yeah, that
it was a good game. I mean, that Elam finish is the best.
Absolutely.
It really is
good. The best.
It really is good.
Hey, Q, did you see who was reffing? Teddy V.
Really?
Yeah,
was he really?
Teddy Valentine was
came
reffing.
over. We talked.
He's got some weird ties.
Oh, yeah. He was a John Marshall teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. He came up to us before the game and said, "This is where I started, man." He said, "This is where I did high school games."
Oh, yeah.
He did the West.
He did a West Virginia State tournament in the mid-'80s.
What's he doing now?
He's
James?
still does big boy basketball.
Yeah, still doing it. Still going.
Yeah.
In good shape.
I said to him,
Still rolling.
He was all like
all those refs would be though. Sort of like a hockey.
Better
have you
now,
ever seen a
right?
hockey-
That
Have you ever seen a
generation
hockey
changed.
guy not in shape? No, just from what they always do.
So those guys are much more in shape
such
now.
An aerobic.
Yeah, they look
You know,
good.
quick shout out to Charlie Miller as well, former West Virginia guy. But he's down in Lexington, just south of Lexington. He was right in front of us last
Oh, yeah.
night.
I saw you chatting with him. He told
Very
you.
nice. He came over, said hello, big listener of the show. And Eli said hello to you as well.
Well, he just texted.
Okay, Eli did?
Yeah, he says, hello.
Wow,
This is
there we go.
Elias. I don't know why you got to call him Eli, like your boys.
Well, he introduced himself as Eli to me.
Elias Mace from Vienna, West Virginia. First-time texter, long-time listener. I was the guy with the Miles McBride jersey on last night. I had an amazing time at the TBT, an honor to meet both Scopes and the Senator. It was too bad Hoppy wasn't there, but that was no surprise. And then he put ring, ring, like your little bell. Question. Eric Stevenson got me thinking in football and basketball, who are some of the most beloved players who only played 1 year at WVU?
Good one.
I love the podcast, and episode 800 is getting even closer. P.S. Just need to meet Hoppy now. Efforting is what he says.
See you in Ronsford.
Well, I don't know if he can go from Vienna to Roncevert, but anyway, we'd love to see him
night,
there.
I bet he comes back to the game. If you'd like to come up with us, you can say hi to all the folks.
I'll probably listen to it on the radio.
Okay.
Listen to you guys
Fair
last
enough,
night.
thank
So
you.
it's gonna be
Greg
on the
from
radio.
Virginia
Thank you a lot.
writes, Greg from Virginia writes, what does EDMF on Huggins' shirt at the TBT stand for? I can give you 3 of the first words, and then you can fill out the rest.
I looked that up last night. Had to recheck. Ethical decision-making framework.
Well, you could say that, or it could stand for everyday mother.
Oh, really? No. I don't know. I just
Yeah,
that's what I saw last night, and somebody referenced it. That's what it stands for.
No, it stands for everyday mother.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, it's a practice jersey. It's practice shirt. So, like, when you come to practice.
I missed that.
What did you say it was, Hop?
Ethical decision-making framework.
Nah, that's not it.
Okay.
So it's a practice T-shirt. So they used to say team,
Yeah.
like, hey, but this is like every day, Mom.
Yep.
Well, you get that.
Oh yeah,
I mean, you understand what that is. Like when we go to work every day.
that's right.
Well, see, I missed that completely.
Well, that's not a stunner.
because I saw it and then I looked it up and it's like, oh, okay, so maybe Huggins had a thing like got to make, trying to make a pivot in your life, making ethical decisions.
No, it's practice jersey. It's a practice shirt.
Okay, drop it. I'll drop it.
Like John Beeline, he used to wear the 211.
No, it was more than that.
212. 212.
Was it 212?
Yeah, because at 211, you've heard this one too, Q. 211 degrees, water is just steam. But at 212 degrees, it boils. And so when you go to work out and you go to practice, we don't want to make steam. We want to boil. And so that thing, they always had shirts on. People go, what's that 212 mean? What's 212 mean? They always do these little, that wouldn't be an acronym. It would just be abbreviation or whatever. I don't know what you would call it.
I like that one guy. I would go Bruce Irvin.
1 year.
1 year guys.
Well, he was
probably
two.
played two. He probably played two. I just feel.
How about this one? Ryan Mundy.
I was going to say Ryan
Mundy.
He was like I don't know that he was technically the first, but I remember him as the first grad transfer that had a massive impact that you really went, wow, how about that grad transfer thing? That worked out great.
It did work.
Again, I don't know if he was the first. He's the first one I vividly remember being a
Correct.
grad transfer that came in and made a massive
goes and
difference.
plays in the NFL.
Yeah.
Had an interesting deal, remember, because he basically became damaged goods at Michigan because didn't play well in the Rose Bowl, and they turned on him, and it was like, you're not good enough. And so he said, okay, fine.
Yeah,
I'm
he
out.
was great here.
Comes here, has a great year, and
Yeah.
goes and plays in the league
There you go.
for a number of years.
He's got a ring.
Yeah, that helps. Yeah,
We always had those guys, Keith Tandy, guys that kind
How
of
about
they end up
that?
playing. JT Thomas, just
They just lasted.
find a way.
Where are those guys?
Well, maybe there's a few of those guys around.
I think there are. Especially on the offensive line. A couple of those guys that when we do show 800,
Yeah.
which
I
we're
know
not,
Keith's
which we're not
coaching.
doing.
we'll be talking about a couple of those guys.
JT's a successful
We're not getting
business guy
800.
down there in Florida.
What's he doing? What's he into?
A little bit of everything, real estate.
Oh, good for
That.
him.
He has a camp. I actually did this camp last year. So good, great guy.
That is awesome. All right. Well, listen, we can't thank you enough for your time, man.
Oh, anytime. Glad to be.
So
I
you
remember
wrote
the old
Quincy
studio
gave us
over
some
there.
time.
Yeah, the old cute. Yeah, he gave us some time.
This is like a 2-hour episode. This is like a telethon episode again. I thought these were supposed to be like an hour.
Well, it's a podcast. It's not like over
It's
here.
live.
We don't have to hit the break.
No, we don't. Oh, we have to pause. We have a hard break coming up. Stay with us on Metro News. This is Talk Line, and we don't have to hit the hard break for the news.
I don't talk like that.
You announce pretty clearly when you're on your show, and I understand why, because you're by yourself, right? I mean, it's a whole different deal when you're doing something by yourself. Like here, we can just kind of lollygag around, and somebody's going to jump in.
Other guys.
But like when you're flying the airplane, you can't go to the bathroom.
There you go.
Right?
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Quincy, it doesn't happen much, but there are occasions since I'm doing the show by myself where I have a moment. It's probably like maybe if you were running back and you like, what do I do now?
That's where you get that pregnant pause, and you go,
Yeah, like, and your mind, all of a sudden, your mind starts racing, but it's not giving you any answers.
Well, you just do what Quincy. Just hit the hole. Just go straight ahead as fast as you can. Hit the
Quincy,
hole,
that's what
right?
you did, hit the
Try
hole?
to get
If you're
through.
not sure, just hit the hole. North and south, Quincy.
There you go.
Just get upfield. Like how many times have you heard that in your life? Get upfield.
Right.
Remember Steve Bird? Get upfield.
Oh, yeah. Coach Bird.
Every single play. Get upfield.
North, south.
All right, music's on. Would love to see you this weekend. We're going to be in Greenbrier County, Ronceverte on Saturday morning,
What time?
10, 11, 12, 1. We'll be there. Go to the Facebook. Look it up. We'll be around there. Looking forward to meeting everybody and having a big time. Quincy, thanks so very much for being with us,
you
man.
guys,
Thanks,
man.
Quincy.
Good
Have
to see
a
you
wonderful year.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Can we get a 1,000-yard rusher out of Fairmont State this year?
I need 1,000. I need the playoffs, and like I said, we'll come back. We'll circle around. We'll circle
Awesome.
the wagon.
You think you might be able to get us some of that gear? Like I know they don't have the Danny Nealon quite luxury of finances.
I'm
but-
about to get with TK or something.
He doesn't
Basketball.
have any gear.
You're got to
asking
get
for
his gear first.
Yeah,
well, after he gets his.
Yeah. I'm fine. I'll find the hoodie somewhere.
Yeah, Koenig's our guy. He hasn't given us any gear.
He hasn't either.
Been on the Koenig bandwagon for years. Frequent guest of the show.
Tightwad.
Get some gear.
Three guys brought to us by the Burdett Camping Center, the only warranty forever dealer in the state of West Virginia. Visit them at burdettcamping.com. Three guys brought to us by GoMart. Go for good times. Go for GoMart. Get your rewards card and cash in on some unbelievable deals. Really good stuff. GoMart.com. Three guys also brought to us by Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. Trust me when I tell you, really good people. If you're in the business space, from equipment in your business to managed IT services, ComaxWV.com. And get yourself a boat at Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans.
There's bread.
45 plus years of a family-owned business, putting people in boats, giving people family fun, and giving people great, great memories. Check them out at LouWendellMarineSales.com. Special thanks to our producer, Williamstown's Ethan Collins. I think he'd done a good job. He was a little.
Yeah, he did.
He had a
Handled
little
it well.
He had a little trepidation about taking the seat. We just kind of spot start for him. Kind of a spot start. Kind of like Frank Young at the Big East tournament, right? When Tyrone Selly got sick, they just brought Frank
Step in, make shots.
He just came in.
Next man up, right, Quincy? Next man up.
Ethan made shots.
That's all it is.
Good job, Ethan.
All right, we're back again at some point next week. Be good. Three guys before the game. See you.